Good morning, everybody. It's time for another morning Bible study. I'm your host, Logan McCulley. Today we are going to get into Proverbs 9. But before we do that, I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of my life. In my world right now, I just finished a round of finals. It was kind of crazy because basically in the past week, I've been recording thing for a week, okay? I recorded, this is me playing catch up. Because what happened is Thanksgiving happened, and it was like a week of Thanksgiving because my father-in-law was the first year without him having Thanksgiving. It's hard on the family. It's hard on my wife. It's hard on me. I really loved him a lot. So doing that was a thing. Doing that with having Thanksgiving with my family was a thing. There was a bunch of, I had a nephew's birthday party that happened in this time. And then right after Thanksgiving, okay, so Thanksgiving's a thing, and then my wife wants to go deer hunting, and oh my gosh, what a great deer hunting season, but we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that for that full deer hunt stuff. We deer hunted a bunch for like 4 days around Thanksgiving, and then roll into this week, so I guess it's been a week and a half, is finals week. And finals week is a big deal. It's a big deal because there's a lot riding on it. And it's not just money. It's time and effort. So at this point, I've put in $7,000 for this semester. I'm on the hook for $7,000. I've already paid it. That's my money. Didn't borrow it. I've worked hard. I've saved my money, and I'm paying $7,000. Well then, not only have I paid the money, I've put in 240 hours of clinical hours. And those clinical hours have been away from home. So if I don't pass these finals, if I don't get to the point where I'm done with the semester completely with at least a B or above, all those clinical hours, all those hours that I spent away from home because I was up in Dyersburg and up in Tiptonville, all that I have to redo. All that goes away or I accept defeat. And I'm a big believer in no defeat. There is no failure. I will succeed one way or the other. That's how I feel about it. So that thought process and knowing what was on the line, knowing what the stakes were, all those clinical hours, all that money, all that effort, all those papers I wrote that I would have to redo if I wanted to continue down this road, was writing on this. So I'm not gonna lie, for the past 3 days, I've probably put 30 plus hours in of like pure hardcore studying, like practice testing, rereading, reviewing, getting amped up for these final 2 finals. Took one yesterday, took one today. My group project is currently, the final group project for another class is currently being submitted by another group member. I'm done. I am done. I think I'm going to finish with like an 88 and an 86, and then hundreds in the other ones because they're pass or fail. It's just a weight off my shoulders. It's a weight off my chest. I mean, I'm in a doctorate level program doing all this, and I'm sorry about my phone beeping. That's on me, guys. That's probably the group project getting submitted. But I'm in a doctorate level program. Like, I'm working, I'll say part-time now. I was full-time last year, but with the clinical hours, I've had to go part-time. So the clinical hours, full-time school, part-time work, I keep up this, and I'm a stepdad, I'm a husband. I try to be there for my family. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I'll tell you what we're also doing, and this is going to be crazy. In the next week, I have to get prepared to go to Cozumel. Have to. It's a pleasure and it's a joy. Me and my wife are going on vacation. But that's a future Logan problem. My computer is going off too. I really do apologize. But that's a future Logan problem. And it's a future Logan, I don't know, good thing. But let me tell you about this hunting that we did. I feel like I just talked about some hunting last time, but that's okay. That's okay. I want to tell you about this because what we ended up doing is I shot. Oh my gosh! I mean, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. Everything's been rolling into each other. I killed my very first 9-point ever. Legitimately, I shot a 9-point deer, and let me tell you how this happened. Okay, because last time I shot a 6-point with Levi, and he didn't really pull the trigger. Well, we were hunting, and I took Levi again. I was like, hey, buddy, okay, so last time you didn't want to pull the trigger, okay? This time, you're going to have to take the first shot. Let's have this conversation now. You're going to have to pull that trigger if you want to continue to keep hunting. You're going to have to put that crosshairs on the deer, and you're going to pull the trigger. I'll back it up with some more shots. But what I want you to do is I want you to take that first shot, and I want you to kill that deer. That's what I want. So let's set the standard now, and then let's move toward that. Now, how did I shoot a 9-point when I set that standard for Levi? Well, I've never seen a 9-point with a gun in my hand or that big of a deer. So, because I'm going to be honest, I come from a poor family. And hunting, we just hunt whatever we could. So, like, there were some farmers that had some land that was like, hey, we would like some deer meat. We'll let you hunt it if you give us a deer. And that started like a 30-year relationship hunting these land. It's not managed. It's small deer. An 8-point got shot out of there 10 years ago. And like 10 years before that, another 9-point got shot by my dad. So, big deer, we just don't see on the regular. Like a 6-point is a nice deer for us, which I know that sounds crazy, but that's what it is. Well, anyways, we're in the deer stand. And I'm not even going to lie to you. I don't know if this is good or bad, but Levi kind of gets antsy, doesn't want to stay in the stand that long. He's 11. So I had my AirPods. I gave him an AirPod, put an AirPod on me, and I started playing Duck Family Treasure, which is a show from the Duck Commander people about treasure hunting. And I put it on, and we were like 30 minutes into the stand. 30 minutes into the hunt. And Levi goes, how much longer are we going to stay here? And I was like, buddy, we've been here for 30 minutes. We're going to have to hunt, at least another hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Let's try to be here for a while. If we're going to hunt, we need to put time in the stand. Because it's all about getting your average up. If you put enough hours into it, you're going to see a deer. That's just how it is. So I'm giving that conversation to him. I'm kind of like looking down, giving him that conversation. And when I look up, there is the 9-point. High stepping across the field. He's not running, but he's definitely not sniffing or looking around or waiting to see what's going on. He is walking across the field. It's one of those moments where Levi, there's no way he would have taken the shot. There's no way he could have made the shot because last time he was too slow. He second-guessed himself. It was the biggest deer I've ever seen. So, all I did, I just reacted. I said, Levi, don't move. As soon as I could, as quickly as I could, without making a sound, get my gun up, aim, and pull the trigger. He was almost to the woods on the other side. That's how fast he was moving. It was just, don't move. Boom! And he was gone. And I was like, oh, man. I don't even remember. I remember sitting in the stand, and I was like, I don't remember if I even got my crosshairs on him. It was just pure reaction, pure shoot the deer, pure kill the deer, pure, if I don't do this, I'm about to let the biggest deer I've ever seen with a gun in my hand walk right by me. So I sat there, and I was in torment, buddy, was I in torment, because what if I just missed the deer, the best deer I've ever seen in my life, with Levi in the stand? There's been one time, I'm lying to you, there's been one time I've seen that nice of a deer, and it was back like when I was way younger, like 11, maybe his age, and I'd shot a buck that morning, and you can only shoot one buck a day. So when we went hunting that night, me and my granddad saw like an 8-point, like a pretty 8-point. And like what I'm saying, there's not big deer in the woods we hunt. There's not big deer, so that was like gold. We were like, what? And I was like, what do we do? Papa was like, it's a juvenile hunt. I can't shoot it. You can't shoot it. There's no way you can put the deer under as well. Like Jacob, my little brothers weren't old enough to hunt. We just had to sit there and watch this crazy deer. So, to that day, I shot a 9-point and I redeemed myself. I'm getting that joker mounted. I'm paying the money to get mounted. I only had to put $25 down, so I got to save up some money between now and July. But that's okay. We're not going to talk about it. That's a future Logan problem. I'm getting him mounted, and he's going to the living room. Jennifer don't know that. She don't watch this. It's going in the living room. I don't know how I'm going to do that without causing an issue in our marriage or getting divorced, but I want it in the living room. She really doesn't, but I think that's what's going to happen. So I killed the 9-point, and that's just like, that's an all-time high for Logan. I had to drag it out. I had to do everything by myself because I don't have a 4-wheeler working. I haven't really worked on my 4-wheelers. None of that matters. I got the 9-point. Then, so let's roll into, that was like a day or two before Thanksgiving. I shot that. We do Thanksgiving at my mom's house. We go up to my mother-in-law's house. We do Thanksgiving there. Jennifer wants to hunt the land her dad always hunted. This might be the last year that we have availability or access to that land. So we got like 4 days of hunting. We even kept leaving out of school a day. We hunt day one. I don't think anybody... we hunt day one, and Jennifer says she saw like a buck and a doe and decided not to shoot it because it was so early in the hunt. Levi was with me that day. And I was like, Jennifer, if you ever see a deer, you shoot the deer. We're here to shoot deer. It's no fun if we all go hunting and no one shoots anything. Like, the point is to put butts in stands and to shoot a deer, okay? Because we're trying to fill freezers here. All right, don't kill small bucks, but does are good eating. So she didn't shoot anything the first day. She could have, and Levi was tore up about it. Second day, we go hunting again. Jennifer shoots one early and actually misses one too. She tried to shoot two, but she gets like a 7-point, a huge buck, and we're like, whoa, like, what's going on? This is like some of the best deer hunting we've ever done. So we get the big buck. I still got to go actually skin the head, and it's been sitting on our back porch for a day or two. But we get the deer head, or get the deer. She gets it. Woohoo! Good job. All right. Well, then Jennifer and Levi go hunting together now, and then I go hunting by myself. And we're still trying to work with Levi to see a deer. Okay. He's moving a lot. He's making noise, but he's getting better. And we're giving that kind of constructive criticism. We're like, Levi, all the shuffle, 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 it's a little rough for the deer to be able to come up on you. So let's work on the shuffle. Okay. Let's work on all of this noise making because we're not hunting by the interstate like we hunt at my land. Or it's not my land, but you know what I'm saying. It's completely silent. So every single noise you make kind of resets the timer of when a deer might pop out. If they hear that, they're going to be spooked. So let's work on it. And he got really good. He got so good that when Jennifer and Levi were hunting that day, a nice buck walks out apparently, which again, crazy because we don't usually see that big a deer. Nice buck walks out. Jennifer hears like deer noises. And Levi, she's like, Levi, get your gun up. There's a deer nearby here. Get your gun up. What Jennifer didn't know, because she was looking at Levi, was that there was the buck out 30 yards in front of them looking at them. And as soon as she, popped them and said, hey, come on, let's get the gun up, the buck saw that and then went, oh, crazy, ran around in front of them and then off into the woods. So Levi was a little butthurt about that. So Levi had then seen a deer and then didn't get to shoot the deer, okay? So then, that's a thing. So then we go, did I shoot one? No, I didn't shoot one up there at the property. I've only shot the 6-point and the 9-point. Well, Jennifer has shot one at this point. Now, we go hunting it later that day. Again, so we stopped, ate lunch, came back into the woods, didn't see a darn thing. And Levi's all heard about Mom or Jennifer messing up his deer hunt and scaring the deer. Fair. That's fair. Well, let's go the last day, okay? So the last day is day number 4. And I'm just like, I'm praying. I'm really praying. I'm like, dear Lord, please let Levi shoot a deer. Please let Levi shoot a deer. I was like, I really wanted him to shoot one or 2 or 3 so that I wouldn't have to continually keep going out in the woods to try to get him a deer. I'd rather get that done, kind of like that notch in the belt. We got another one in the freezer. We're good. Well, last day, it was like 25 degrees outside. It was cold, man. It was cold. I broke out all my winter gear. I'm talking like it's hard to bring your arms together. You kind of feel stiff just by sitting in all the clothes. I'm out of winter gear. And I'll tell you what, we sat there for an hour. We sat there for an hour and a half. We sat there for 2 hours. I'm talking like I was cold, buddy. I was cold, like the kind of cold that takes a few hours to warm up from. I was cold to my core. And I honestly, I was texting Jennifer. I said, hey, baby, like, how much more time do you have? Because I don't know if I can handle this. I'm going to be real. And she said, have you seen anything? She said, no, I haven't seen anything. And then not 3 minutes later, I hear him shoot. And I'm like, dear Lord, please have a deer on the ground. Please have a deer on the ground. And then she texted a few minutes later and said, 1 shot, 100 yards, he dropped it. And he did drop a doe. He dropped a doe at 100 yards. And I was like, thank you, Lord. We have a deer. Levi shot a deer. We've all gotten a deer this season. I got the biggest deer I've ever shot this season. I'm getting it mounted. Jennifer shot a huge deer, biggest deer that's come off that property up there. It was awesome. It was awesome. And I can't ask for any better. Thank you for that being a thing. The downside, though, is that wrapping all of that up and then coming straight home and then hopping into study mode and just study. Caffeine, study. Take the exam. And then I study again the next day for this exam today. It was a lot, is all I'm saying. It was a lot. And I'm finally, thankfully glad that it all worked out good. That I can look back and say the hunting was worth it because I was able to spend that time with my family. And I know that I've now passed everything. So I can now look back and say, okay, well, I made it through. What do they say? Like, looking back to 2020, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, I spent my time wisely and was able to do that for them. It was good. All right, let's go ahead and move into Proverbs 9. I'm going to be honest with you, it's short. This morning's going to be a short one. It's only 18 verses, and I almost wanted to do like Proverbs 9 and then move into Proverbs 10, but Proverbs 10 on is a collection of Proverbs, so it's going to be a totally different thing, and I kind of want to keep it, even though it's going to be a short one, the sanctity of just doing one chapter at a time, even if they're short or even if they're long, just taking that time to get into it and then get out of it. Doing what we need to do when we get here. I don't know. I like that setup. Hope you do as well. Before we get into that, let's pray and bless the word we're about to receive. Lord, thank you so much for everything that you've done and been there for me. I have definitely been stressed out, and you have just helped me with that every step of the way. Thank you so much for helping me get through these finals and this family time. And it's going to be a little bit hard going through the next set of family time with Christmas and vacation and everything else. Just be there with me and help me stay on your path. Help me keep my eyes towards you. Do in me with what I can't do in myself. Lord, bless this word that we're about to receive. Give us discernment. Give us that discernment to see in your word. Jesus, in your name I pray. Amen. I sometimes feel a little bit weird about praying on camera. Sometimes it's a little hard for me. I know I need to do it. Prayer. I need to be in constant prayer with Jesus. I pray before I read it because I do want to set the tone with God. Like, hey, yo, bro, I'm here. But I hope it comes off good. I don't know. It's just different. We're gonna stop talking about that. Let's just go ahead and move into the verses. So Proverbs 9 this morning. Wisdom has built her house. She has hewn out of her 7 pillars. She has slaughtered her meat. She has mixed her wine. She has also furnished her table. She has sent out her maidens. She cries out from the highest places of the city. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. As for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, come, eat my bread, and drink of the wine I have mixed. Forsake the foolish and live, and go in the way of understanding. He who corrects scoffer gets shame for himself, and he who rebukes a wicked man only harms himself. Do not correct a scoffer, lest he hate you. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love you. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will still be wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. Now, let's back that up to the beginning. Who are we talking about? In verse 1, it says, wisdom has built her house. We're talking about wisdom. She has hewn out her 7 pillars. So she built her house and cleaned out, used, put up 7 pillars. Why 7 pillars important? It's important because the significance of 7 is to convey the sufficiency of this house as full in size, fit for banquet. So it's saying it's huge. We're making this house big enough for the banquet. She has slaughtered her meat. She has mixed her wine. She has also furnished her table. Who are we talking about again? We're talking about wisdom. Wisdom has slaughtered her meat, mixed her wine, and furnished her table. Why are we saying slaughtered her meat? She's getting ready for the festival. Wisdom is getting ready for the banquet. Wisdom is getting ready by slaughtering the meat, mixing the wine, furnishing her table. Why are we mixing wine? What are we mixing wine with? Apparently, in the reference, we're talking about mixing wine 1 to 8 parts, like 1 part wine, 8 parts water, to dilute it, non-diluted wine was considered strong drink. When you dilute it, you also add spices. Fun fact, I guess. In verse 3, she, talking about wisdom, has sent out her maidens. She cries out from the highest places of the city. Whoever, this is what she's crying out. The maidens that wisdom has sent out is crying out. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. As for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, so she's saying to the person who lacks understanding, come and eat my bread and drink of the wine I have mixed. Oh, so she's talking, so wisdom is talking to the person who lacks understanding, saying, hey, here I am, I'm wisdom. Come eat my bread, learn from me, and drink of the wine I have mixed. Come, fill yourself with wisdom. Forsake foolishness and live, and go in the way of understanding. Oh my goodness, that is so interesting. The breakdown of those verses is the call of wisdom is not a secret, but public. All right? In verse 7, what does wisdom say then? It's in quotations. He who corrects a scoffer gets shame for himself. So if you correct someone who's scoffing, you're going to get shame on yourself. And he who rebukes a wicked man only harms himself. So we're saying don't correct a scoffer and don't rebuke a wicked man. Do not correct a scoffer lest he hate you. Oh, interesting. That's what verse 8 says. Rebuke a wise man and he will love you. So there's a flip there. We're saying the first two, the one, the scoffer and the wicked, if you correct or rebuke them, they will hate you. However, let's flip it back. Verse 9 then says, give instruction to a wise man and he will still be wiser. Teach a just man and he will increase in learning. It's basically saying, don't waste your time with a scoffer. Don't waste your time with a wicked man. If you are giving advice, and you can kind of extrapolate this a little bit to someone, if you rebuke someone or correct someone, and they come back to you with shame or hate, then you know that person is a scoffer or a wicked man because that's what they do. If it's in the Bible, it's true. That's so interesting because I have had people I've tried to be like, hey man, so like, is what you're doing like the thing that you should be doing? Because no one gave me that advice. And I have been bitten. I've been kind of cussed at. I've been attacked. Those people were then a scoffer or a wicked man. Interesting. And then there's people that I've given advice to or wisdom to, mainly talking about, I've given a little bit of advice to people about the Bible. And like there's been certain situations where, because everything you can turn back to the Bible. So I had someone ask me about like a situation where he was owed money, but he agreed to working for a certain pay rate that didn't include overtime. But the law says you have to have overtime. But he was going to get more money if he agreed to a straight pay at a higher rate. And then someone found out that they weren't paying overtime, which is illegal, it's illegal. He was like, man, should I get involved with this? Because like if I got the overtime money, I'd get like 15 grand. I was like, buddy, you agreed to the pay rate. He didn't trick you. He didn't lie to you. There is a biblical story that references this. Let's go read that together. I don't have the answers, but I think it's important to know that those stories exist and just let's go dive into the Bible together. Let's not just try to make up advice on our own. Let's get in to what the Bible actually says about it. And I think that's the key thing here is that as long as you always turn it back to God, glory to God, turn it back to the Bible, it's there for you. That's what you should do. In verse 10, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. For by me your days will be multiplied, and years of life will be added to you. If you are wise for yourself, and if you scoff, you will bear it alone. Man, I love how we started that in verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. What is like Proverbs theme, right? My son, and fear the Lord your God. Fear the Lord your God, love the Lord your God with all your heart. Wisdom and knowledge as well. But that fear to begin with is where it comes from. If you know, because God made all this, right? Like, He set up the rules. He's giving you the playbook on how to do everything and live a fruitful life. Fear the Lord, because the flip side of the fruitful life, I mean, if you can't be motivated by the carrot, like, you're going to get the stick. So fear the Lord your God is where it starts. In verse 11, he says, "For by me your days will be multiplied and years of life will be added to you." Is that a promise of the Bible? It sounds like it. For by me your days will be multiplied and years of life will be added to you. I mean, that sounds pretty good. What is it saying? It's saying your days will be multiplied and life will be added to you. For those who walk in sin are dead in their trespasses. Something like that. That wasn't good. Anyways, you're quickened. The Holy Spirit quickens you and you're awakened in faith. That's how it works. I wonder if that's what it means by life will be added to you. But it also does legitimately say your days will be multiplied. I like promises of the Bible. In verse 12, if you are wise for yourself, and if you scoff, you will bear it alone. Now that's interesting. That's an interesting phrase right there. So in the reference Bible, it breaks it down and says that every individual is responsible for his own conduct, so that the choices we make affect our own lives. It's putting back that role and responsibility on you for everything that you do. The steps that we take today will lead us to where we are going in the future. Are you taking the right steps where you want to end up? Because you are the one that's going to have to wake up and pay the dues that are owed. If you're wise for yourself, and if you scoff, you'll bear it alone. You are the one. I guess that's also a good reminder of, like, as we're trying to sow the seeds of the gospel, we're doing what we're supposed to do. But we can't, sometimes I get stuck on being responsible and trying to figure out how to get people to understand the gospel. How do you get that motor turning? How do you get that spark in there? Because I didn't have it. I didn't have it for a long time. It's not on me to do that. But it's a hard thing. It's one of those things that I struggle with, and I know I shouldn't struggle with it because the Lord can do all. The Lord's got it. I shouldn't worry about how do I get that person's motor turning. But it's just like, whether it's the amount of, like, learning I've done where they focus a lot on, like, how to get people to learn things the right way or how to get people to learn it, period. That's not on me. The gospel's got it. If they scoff, they will bear it alone. Verse 13. A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knows nothing. For she sits at the door of her house on a seat by the highest places of the city, to call to those who pass by, who go straight on their way. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. As for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he does not know that the dead are there, that their guests are in the depths of hell. So clamorous is defined as making a loud and confused noise. Again in verse 13, the beginning of this. A foolish woman is clamorous, making a loud and confused noise. She is simple and knows nothing. Okay, all right, so now we're getting there. For she sits at the door of her house on a seat by the highest places of the city, to call to those who pass by, who go straight on the way. So she's sitting there in a high place calling to people who are on the straight path, who are on the straight and narrow, that are doing what they're supposed to do. What she says, though, and this is in quotations, whoever is simple, let him turn in here. And for him who lacks understanding, wait. In quotations, in verse 16, from her high place, she is saying, whoever is simple, let him turn in here. She's calling them out, saying, hey, if you are simple, turn in here. I would feel a little offended by that. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll be like, yo, I'm not simple. What are you doing? Like, that's not how you're going to get me. I guess there's some people out there that are like, all right, yeah, I'm in. Let's see what's up over here. I don't know. If you're simple, turn in here. Then out of quotations, it says, as for him who lacks understanding, she then says to that person, in quotations, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. So that's what she's saying. That phrase, Stolen in water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. This person who doesn't have understanding says, stolen water is sweet. You would know that stolen water is not sweet because you have to pay that price later. I think it's like up to 7 times as much. And bread eaten in secret is pleasant. Are we talking about bread? In verse 18, but he, this is the person that she's like calling in, the person that she's suckered in there is saying, but he does not know that the dead are there, that her guests are in the depths of hell. She's tricking you in there. She's drawing you in. She's luring you in there into her little abyss, into her little cage. Into hell is what's happening. The breakdowns for 17 and 18. Forbidden delights sometimes seem sweeter and more pleasant because of their risk and danger. Breakdown on the word hell. Like the adulterer, the flattering words of folly lead to death. These are good words. These are good words. I was just listening to a podcast by Adrian Rogers. It's a sermon by Adrian Rogers, now turned podcast. And he's on one about porn, man. He's on one talking about how you just can't just look at it. It's going to affect you. That's how our brains are wired. If you say it doesn't affect you, he said you're either Superman, not a man, or a liar. Those are your 3 options if you think it doesn't affect you. And our verse from that last time, can a man take fire to his bosom and his clothes not be burned? The answer is no. That's Proverbs 6:27. Thank you, Sticky Note. The one thing that I didn't do this round is go ding, 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 give us a Bible verse to remember. I think it's going to be Proverbs 9:10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. That's going to be our verse to remember tonight. Proverbs 9:10. Write it down, put it on a sticky note, put it in your heart. That right there is how you hide the Bible in your heart. That is how you continuously put your eyes on the path of God and you keep yourself going the right direction. You got to hide those verses. And I'm bad about it. I'm so bad because I don't know why. I don't know. It's something I'm trying to do. I'm actually going to go ahead and write my verse down now and put a sticky note. This week, let's get bulk. Let's get buff. Let's do something to improve our physical life and our spiritual life. As much as you put into your body, you need to put way more into your spiritual life. This body will fail one day. And then what's going to happen? Are you going to hell? Are you going to heaven? Do you know Jesus? Those are some good questions. I started that sentence off thinking about let's try to get buff and bulk up and be healthy, which is important. It's important to have a healthy body. There's a point that was one time made that your bodily health doesn't affect your mental health. And there was someone that said, hey, you should try drinking a bottle of bleach and then tell me if you can solve a math problem. Yeah, a few hours. See how that handles you. So I think it is important to have a healthy body, to have a healthy mind, to be able to put your mind toward God and everything he did. Especially when you're studying the Bible, man. It's deep. It's deep. It's thick. It's meaty. It touches on everything in life. You need to be ready for it. That's the show, guys. Make sure you let me know what you're thinking. That's what I want you to know. Drop a comment somewhere in the interweb, somewhere. I don't know where it's going to pop up, but I want to know. Leave a comment somewhere. That's it this morning, y'all. Keep your corn on the cob. Logan, out.